Hi everyone and welcome to the latest episode of Tops and Tails. My name is Huw Ware. This episode is brought to you as ever by Pluto TV, the live streaming service that is the home of the MODUS Super Series. Watch every dart live and exclusive only on Pluto TV. No sign-up required, no fees, just non-stop darting action, as well as thousands of movies and shows for you to enjoy. Download the Pluto TV app now and start streaming on your smart television. The link is in the show description. My special guest today is one of the highest rated properties in the world of darts today. At the time of recording this at the World Match Play, he is fresh off a landmark victory in his career against the reigning World Match Play champion, Luke Humphries. I'm very excited to talk to him about how he got into darts, as well as his future plans for his career today. It is none other than the Netherlands' very own Gian Van Veen. Hi, Gian. Well, I say Gian. Right, let's sort this out before we go any further. Because on stage, I started calling you Gian.
Yeah.
And then somebody came up to me and said, it's actually Gian.
Yes,
so
correct.
now I pronounce you Gian. It is Gian Van Veen.
Yes.
Well, I apologise. How unprofessional of me.
It's okay.
You know, really. Well, I mean, do you mind Gian?
No.
Okay.
I've heard so many different pronunciations of my name. I'll listen to anything.
You've been called worse.
Yes, 100%.
I'm sure you haven't been. Also, no, you're a lovely young man. Gian, first of all, the first time I met you, I remember, was in 2022, I want to say. We were sort of not too long out of the pandemic. And I started working down at the MODUS Super Series as a spotter. And you were on the lineup for my very first day there. And I remember we said a quick hello. I mean, you may not remember that, but I remember we just said a very quick hello to one another. I must confess, I didn't really know who you were at that moment in time. But by the end of that day's play, I certainly did. Because I remember you kind of stormed through that day. And I remember sitting there spotting, thinking, well, he's got it. You know, and I think that was quite clear, even sort of back then. So how long have you been playing darts? Have you always been were you a darts nut growing up? Like, what was going on? What was going on there?
Yeah, I played dart. I've been playing darts since I was about 9 years old, so about 14 years ago. My parents always used to watch darts, and they loved darts. It's my dad never really played. He played at home for fun, but not really locally, any tournaments or competitions. But I still played football, but it was a local darting tournament at our football club, which I participated in. But yeah, as I said, I was 9 years old. My board at home was at my height, not the correct height, obviously, but like halfway. And that tournament was the first tournament I ever participated in. First time ever playing on the correct height and correct distance. And I won that tournament, so that's how I rolled into darts. And I never looked back.
Oh, wow. So the natural talent was clearly always there then if you were winning straight from the off. Yeah. And did you have people coming up to you saying, oh my gosh, you've got to take this seriously, you've got to, you know...
Not really at that age.
Or were they trying to tell you, stop.
No.
Stop now, we want to win, not you.
No, not that at all. You know, some people saw my talent, of course, and especially me playing my first ever tournament, and they said... If you're having fun, if you like playing darts, come with us to other tournaments and let's see how you get on. And that's what I did. And here we are now, 14 years later.
I mean, so obviously the bug hits, and as I'm sure it always does when you start off doing something and you're very good at it right from the off. Was darts in your family? No, not really.
No, not really.
Okay, so it's just watching it on the television,
yeah,
is it?
Yeah. My granddad was a huge fan as well. But he passed away before I was born, so I didn't know that. But my mother always said, like, they watched it together. My parents watched it even when I was younger than 9 years old. So we've been fans, but we've not been players, or there's not another player really in my close family. So
what years, Gian? This is going to become a running theme. I do apologise. No problem. It's very early when we're recording this. What era was this that you grew up watching, Gian? So this would have been, if you're 20, how old are you now? You're
23.
You're 23 now, so 2002. Oh my God, are we talking Mardle, Painter, Manley, Lewis, Lloyd, that era?
Yeah, kind of. I think my first real tournament I remember was the Worlds of 2011 with Lewis beating Gary Anderson in the final.
Oh, okay.
That was the first real tournament I still remember. Okay. That's my first real memory of darts.
So Raymond van Barneveld, was he the GOAT at the time for you, or was it more Van Gerwen?
No, Van Gerwen was about a year later, I think 2012 when he really broke through.
Yeah.
But my GOAT of darts back in the day was Gary Anderson. Probably because my first real memory of darts is the Worlds of 2011. He was so good in that tournament.
Oh, he was.
Yeah,
wasn't he? Yeah.
so I think, and he made it look so easy. So I think that's why I enjoyed watching him play. I still do, to be honest. But
did you model anything from Gary? Have you taken certain traits of Gary into your
not
own
really.
game?
No. It's not really any dart player I look up to, and I say that's what part of his game I got in my game as well. Not really.
Has your throw always been the same?
No,
It's changed, has it?
Yeah. I've started off, well, obviously now I'm stacking. It started off not that way, just my dart standing up in the board. But I changed when I was about 16, 17 years old, because I was playing well in practice and at home and all the local tournaments. But when the pressure got on, I always dragged the dart below the trebles. And that I thought, if I stack and I drag them below, then I can use the dart. So that's why I changed, and I think it's only for the better.
Oh, that's interesting. So, I mean, for all the dart players, all the local pub players who may be listening to this or watching this, that idea of sort of going into the stacking mode, whereas your darts would land sort of, vertical to go to horizontal. How do you do that? Did you have to change your grip? Did you have to change your darts, your setup, your flights, for example? How do you do that? How do you go from into stacking mode?
Yeah, it's difficult because I played darts for like 5 or 6 years and not changed anything about my grip. So when you suddenly want to change something that massive, it's very difficult. What I did is I tried to hold the dart at the same way, but just a bit more to the point. So on the front of the barrel to change the weight of the dart in my hand.
Yeah.
But I couldn't land them the way I wanted to. So I started off playing with slim flights so I can land them flat and get used to it. But I quickly realized that for slim flights weren't for me. They were going all over the place. But I liked the way how they stood in the board. So I tried again with just regular standard flights. And I changed a little bit on my grip, how I hold the dart to get them perfectly sit in the board. And I think that's how I really changed my grip.
Because the flights you use now are quite big, aren't they? Very big, sort of standard. And you get the idea, I suppose, get a lot of deflections, I suppose. And
not really anymore. I've changed the nose of my barrel because as you said, I had lots of deflections the Red Dragon changed the nose of my barrel to make it more round and so it can glide onto the fly instead of bounce off it. So, it was a big struggle with the deflections.
Well, when did Red Dragon sign you, Gian?
I've heard this week I've been the second longest serving player.
Wow.
After Peter Wright. So I've signed with Red Dragon when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
So for 11 years now already.
You're the longest. So that's interesting. So, obviously they saw your talent right away as well, as much as what people in Holland did. They obviously did as well.
Yeah.
Do you remember the moment that they came to you?
Yeah. I remember my dad was in contact with them, and he told me that he received an email that they wanted to get me on board, and I was a dart player, dart fan, but I wasn't really familiar with all the brands, so I didn't really know how big Red Dragon of a brand was. But I was always up for it. It's free darts, free stems, flights and everything. And when you're 12 years old, you're like a kid in a toy store. So I was like, yes, get me on board. And now, especially looking back 11 years later, it's like one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Did you go down to Bridgend to see the Red Dragon store when you signed up with them?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Not for the first couple of years.
Paradise.
Yeah, I know.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'm happy that I didn't, especially for them as well, because I was like, I want that, give me that one. So
you had nothing left?
No, I've been sold out. But no, I didn't. But now, of course, I've been there a couple of times. So it's amazing.
So darts, obviously, you start winning from such a young age, your ability is there. So may I ask you, Gian, how did that affect your school life, really? Did you feel from a very early age that darts was going to be your future? Or, and school sort of went by the wayside, or not really? Were you very studious?
School was my number one priority. Darts was always on the side of school. Especially until I was like 18 or 19 years old. I've finished all my local classes and college, etc. Only the back end of college, when I got to get my degree, it was kind of difficult because in the last half year of my college, I got my tour card. So then the last half year was a bit of a struggle. But I got it all done in the end. I got my degree. So darts always massively helped me, especially when I was like, as I said, 10, 11 years old. I was one of the best math kids in class because of playing darts. I think it's a massive help in your school life.
I'm a big advocate of getting darts into schools to help kids' mental maths, because I was exactly the same as you, Huw. Like, my mental arithmetic wasn't very good, but when I got into darts, it just went from there to there, with no messing about. I mean, I can't do any more than 5 or 1 upwards, even to this day. But it did really help. I mean, obviously in the Holland, with Barney and all the rest of it, sort of darts mad. Darts exploded when Barney won the world title back in the mid-90s. Is darts sort of regular in the curriculum in Holland? Because it's not really in the UK. We're still trying to push it into schools. What's it like in the Netherlands in terms of school? Is there nothing there either?
It's even worse.
Oh, right.
Yeah. No, but as we're recording, yesterday I've been with the PDC to do the bullseye maths stuff here in Blackpool.
Yes.
And I wish we, or the kids back in Holland, get that stuff on school, because it's amazing. They learn how to play darts. They learn how to calculate using the dartboard. And I think the schools would be massively benefiting from that, especially here in the UK, but also back in the Netherlands. But no, there's nothing going on there.
So obviously, I mentioned to you the MODUS Super Series in sort of like our little introduction. What were your thoughts going into the MODUS Super Series to get that opportunity at that time? What were your thoughts going into that?
I was amazed that I was being invited, because I remember the first time I think we met, was that in Southampton?
Southampton.
There was a first time, and I got a few weeks ago, before that, I got a text from Jacques Nieuwlaat, and he asked me, "Do you want to play in the MODUS Super Series?" And I was doing okay back then. I was averaging like 80, maybe 85 on the Dev Tour. So I was really shocked to be invited. I was like, yeah, of course I want to go. So that's what I did, and I really played well that week. I won the week as well. The next week, immediately Champions Week, and I played so many good players, and I think that really benefited my game. I remember shortly after going to the MODUS Super Series, I picked up my first Challenge Tour title. So that MODUS Super Series really kicked my career on, because it's 5 or 6 days full of darts, lots of hours playing on the board, playing such good players, and it's good practice, match practice as well, in front of the cameras for the first time. So I think MODUS Super Series really helped my career so far.
I was going to ask you about just how much it's impacted you, because we've seen other players as well, yourself, even Luke Littler, played on the MODUS Super Series just before he went to the Worlds, didn't he? And how much that's benefited players. What did you learn from those weeks there from other players? Even not even necessarily on the board, but off the board, Ian.
I've learned how, not so sure about the other players, but I've learned how to play so many games in a day for about a few hours, because normally I played on the development tour, and of course I played like 3 or 4 games and then another tournament, but here it was just 5 games. No matter if you win or lose, you play 5 games against very, very good opponents, and you have to perform every time in a very different surrounding that you're used to, with a camera, with a very silent room, and then in the practice board, of course, there's another 5 players, and I was very young back then. I was 19 or 20 years old, so I was they were not really messing with me, but of course they were all very experienced, and for me it was all new. So that was such an experience for myself that it's not something I will ever forget, and I think I've learned a whole lot back there at the MODUS Super Series.
I mean, the obviously Development Tour and Challenge Tour as well. I mean, the winner of Development Tour titles, Challenge Tour titles. Talk to us a little bit about that, Hian, like sort of that sort of experience, because I suppose what I'm really asking you is, are you happy to have gone through this system in the way that you have, rather than just turning up to Q School and bang, tour card straight away? Do you feel like you have benefited from your years in those levels of the Development Tour and the Challenge Tour?
Yeah, 100%.
Before the Pro Tour,
Yeah, 100%. Especially on the Development Tour. Like, my first ever title I picked up on the Challenge Tour, but then I've won 9 titles on the Development Tour, and especially winning those tournaments, you learn what winning is like. If you don't play that stuff and you get straight on the Pro Tour, you're not going to win as much, of course, and you'll probably get drained by the Pro Tour, because you lose week in, week out, and it's not fun then if you lose so much. So I think that really helped my game understand what winning is like, and understand, of course, what losing is like, but especially winning. And if you're not winning as much on the Pro Tour, I was always, especially my first year, I was still able to go back to the Development Tour to win more games there, to build my confidence. So I'm really happy that I'm here in the way I've been here now, how my career is going so far. with the challenge and development tour. Yeah.
They say similar about Michael van Gerwen, don't they? Back in the day when he was struggling for form on the PDC, and then all of a sudden the development tour started, and he discovered or rediscovered what winning was like, and then he took that into his game on the Pro Tour and went on from there. Is what they say. Michael van Gerwen, talk to me about Michael. It's a big question.
Yeah.
But obviously the impact that he must have had. I know Gary Jansen was your favourite, but Michael must have had a big impact as well, especially for the state of darts in the Netherlands.
100%. I think first of all, of course, Raymond. I think without Raymond, darts wouldn't be as big as it is in Holland now. But Michael has really overcome that status. I think back home, and I think without Michael, I wouldn't be playing darts maybe because he. Yeah, I started in 2011, but what he did from 2012 onwards is amazing, especially for the sport in Holland. He's got massively media attention, televised rights, etc. because of Michael. So, it's amazing what he has done for the sport, especially in the Netherlands, but globally, of course, as well. And
do you know him well, Gian? Have you gotten to know him well?
Yeah, kind of. I live about 20 minutes away from him, but he's never home, of course.
Oh, no.
No, but...
none of us are these days, Gian.
Very
you
true.
Know, it's,
very true. I've known him quite a bit. I know what he's like. I know he can be a very arrogant kind of guy, but he's very nice. He's a very lovely guy, and he's a great dart player, great human as well. And I really like to be... right around Michael in tournaments.
Well, who are your best friends on the tour, Gian? Guys who have graduated from the development tour up to the Pro Tour with you, maybe? Or who are your best friends on the tour?
I think currently my best friend on tour, who spent the most time, is Danny Noppert.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm playing in all the Euro Tours. He's playing in all the Euro Tours. We're playing both at all the majors, and we sit at the same table on the Pro Tours as well. Some other good friends, but just on the Pro Tour are guys from the same management, like Patrick Gerards, Jitse van der Wal, but also guys like Barry Van Peer, Jules Van Dongen. We're all good friends, and we all sit at the same table and have a good time on the Pro Tour. One good friend of mine who just lost his tour card last year, Owen Rulos. We played at the same. We got our card at the same time at Q School. Shared lots of good moments on the development tour together. So I'm hoping he gets his card back real soon because I really miss him at the Pro Tour.
Any stories that you can share with us in public from your time there?
Well,
are you somebody who likes to go on nights out, Gian?
No.
Are you? So you're not.
No.
Okay.
I'm not just when I'm away from darts. Not even at home.
No.
I'm not much of a party animal, to be honest. I rather spend my night just, especially at home with my girlfriend or something, or go out for dinner, and that's it. And even on darting days, when we're in Leicester for the Pro Tour, I just go out for dinner, and that's it for the evening, and get ready for the next day. So I'm not really a party animal. So no, don't have that juice, unfortunately.
So I can imagine when you get back, because we talk about being away from home a lot. If you're anything like me, when I get home, I just like to chill as much as possible, and just to be thinking about anything other than darts, to be totally honest. And you're quite similar, are you?
Yeah, 100%. I think when I get back home, I should practice more than I do now, but I just want to chill, have a good time at home, and spend time with the family, and instead of thinking about darts 24/7. So I'm quite similar.
Your girlfriend, Gian, when did you meet? When did you...
We met, I think, when I was about 11 or 12 years of age, because she's a dart player as well. She was one of the best girls players back in Holland. So we met early on, but just as friends. And then I think we really clicked when we were in Spain together for a darting trip to play bull shooter, so soft tip. And that's where I was 16, she was 15 years old, and that's where we really clicked, and we've been together since. Yeah.
I mean, well, obviously a great support to you as well, I imagine, with the darts, because it is a big sacrifice, and I know we keep coming back to it, but it is a sacrifice to be away from home so much, isn't it?
Yeah, true, and I think it's really helpful that she knows what I'm doing. She knows the game very well, and she's really supportive. She's not like, oh, you're going away again, or stuff like that. She knows what I need to do to be at the level where I am. I said I've not been practicing as much at home, but if I need to, she really understands it, what I need to do, as I said, to be here. So I think that's really helpful to have such a backbone behind you.
Does she come to darts?
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she's not here at the World Match Play this week.
Okay.
Maybe if I get to like the latter stage of the tournament, she's coming over. But she's there for a lot of Euro tours.
Right.
So in Germany, when we drive towards the tournament, a lot of times she's there.
Right.
So she's been a massive help.
Yeah. Nice. Your time on the Pro Tour, Gian, how would you sum it up so far? Obviously, I mean, you're very established and obviously on the right road, and everything, and everything's going in the right direction. But how would you sum it up, Gian, so far for you? A learning experience? Has it gone as well as what you would have liked it to have gone? Has it not gone as well as what you'd like to go? I mean, everyone's sort of attitude and right, this is what I want. Everyone's ambitions are different. So how would you sum up your time on the tour so far?
I think the past 2.5 years of my career, since I got my tour card, I've been overachieving for myself, is what I would say. I think if you told me 2.5 years ago you will be in top 20 of the world in 2.5 years, I would not believe you, because I've always thought I was a decent player, not a phenomenal player, but I've been, as I said, really playing well the last 2.5 years. I've been overachieving myself. To be honest, I wasn't really thinking I was able to do this, especially not for a long time as I have now. So I'm really happy with how it's going at the moment, and I'm really enjoying the ride so far.
I think I might know the answer to this question, but what has been your biggest victory so far in your career?
Like tournament wise or game wise?
And anything here.
I think
for its significance, if anything.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to say now after last Saturday beating Luke Humphries on the match play. I think
that was the one I was going to.
Yeah.
Sorry, before you go any further, I just want to ask you: do you feel that is your? Of course, everybody in the darts world knows who you are, Gian, obviously. But do you feel that is your first statement victory?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Was that the moment you truly announced yourself?
I think so. I think back in 2023, I made the semi-final of the European Championship, beating Michael Van Gerwen in the quarterfinals. I think that was also a statement, but that could be a one-off. Everyone was like, "Oh, that's very good," but maybe it's a one-off. But now, almost 2 years later, beating the world number 1 and reigning champion Luke Humphries here at the Winter Gardens was. I think that's everyone before that game was like, it could be a close game, but Luke is the favorite, so. Most likely he's going to win it, of course, but it could be a close game. Gian could be a tricky opponent for him, and then I felt the underdog, but I was still under pressure to give him a good game, and of course I wanted to win. So I think it's really a statement win to beat such a kind of a player in the first round here at the World Match Play. So I think that's maybe the biggest win of my career so far.
So I get the impression though you might have been thinking about another victory that you might have had. What was that victory, Gian?
I think being the first Dutchman ever to win the Youth World Championship it's massive for myself as well. In my career, of course, I got a bit lucky in the final, but I think to win that tournament, as I said, as the first Dutchman ever with all the great Dutch players we had in the past, I think that's a massive milestone for my career as well.
Yeah, that was an extraordinary final, of course. I mean, did you think that had gone, Gian? Because I remember refereeing it. Did you think that had gone?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, very, very much so. I think before the game, I was massively favourite. I was more experienced on the big stage than Jurjen. So I was like, he started off really well. He played phenomenal in that game. But I was always thinking to myself, eventually the pressure will get to him. But it took a lot longer than I thought it would. So he, even after like 5-4 up, he was on a double after 12 to get the title. I was like, wow, this is really good. And he would be the deserved champion that day. But I rode my luck and I survived like 5 or 6 match starts. But that starts as well for you. And I was, of course, very happy to get that title. But after seeing his reaction, of course, when he lost, it was very difficult to celebrate.
Your time on the Pro Tour as well and Development Tour and Challenge Tour, there was something I was going to say to you earlier, that sort of that idea of having like a building foundation, if you like, from playing on the Development Tour and Challenge Tour. And I suppose this does also apply to your time on the Pro Tour as well. That old adage, and obviously you don't lose very often, Gian, but that old adage of you have to learn to lose to win. Yeah. Would you say that's fair?
100%.
Right, yes. Does that sort of sum up what we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, I think so, especially on the Pro Tour, because like we play 34 floor events a year, 14 Euro Tours, so many majors, and you're going to play around 60, 70 tournaments a year if you're playing in all of it. And you're, especially for my career, I'm happy if I win one of them. So you're going to lose about 60 times a year. So you're going to lose so many tournaments, and you have to take the victories that you get, because otherwise it's very difficult if you only think about your losses. And you have to understand why you're losing. So I always say you don't lose, you learn, because you have to see what you're doing wrong, or sometimes the opponent is just better. Then that's it.
Could you expand on that first, Huw? When you say you have to learn why you lost, is that to do with the mechanics of your throw, your scoring aspect, your doubling aspect? Could you expand on that for us?
Yeah, of course. It can be everything. It can be, as you said, the scoring aspect of the game. If you're scoring not well enough, then you should look into that, or doubling wise, or even mentality. If you're going into the game with like, oh, it's a difficult opponent, I might not win, or thinking too negatively about one or two missed doubles, then it can all be down to you losing that game. So I think that's what you should look back at the games, and that's why not always, but most of the time, look back at my games to see what I was doing wrong and where I can improve for the next games.
How important would you say is mentality, Gian, as opposed to ability? Is it not talked about enough just how important up there is?
Yeah, I 100% fully agree, because as I said, you're going to lose a lot of games, so you have to be mentally very strong to play on the PDC Pro Tour. You got 128 tour card holders, 128 of them can play very, very well. They can all hit a 105, 110 average, and I know some players who always say, oh, they always play well against me, but everyone can play, so you need to be mentally strong and try to play better than your opponent, but it's so difficult, and you're going to have a lot of setbacks in your career, but you always need to overcome them.
The ability and the standard on the Pro Tour is insane, isn't it? I mean, it's probably fair to say that any one of those 128 players on their day could win the title. That's how good everybody is. And it is fine margins, isn't it? Yeah,
True.
It is that extra 1%, 2% either way.
Yeah, I've been working quite hard lately, the last half year to a year, about getting the extra percentage. Like, just if it's like your diet, or your being healthy, or some like that, because every single 1% can matter on this level of sport. So I think it's really important to, as you said, look at those extra percentages that you can gain on others.
Yeah, as you say, like, obviously the standard is very, very good. And like, when you first got your tour card, was your attitude, okay, I would just like, after these first 2 years, I would just like to be in the top 64? Or did your ambitions go more than that? I would like to make this amount of European tours. I'd like to make the World Match Play things. When you first got your card, what did you think? Would you just been happy to keep it?
First of all, that was the main goal, just to get into the top 64. But before I got the tour card, I could play in about 8 or 9 Pro Tours. I made a couple, like as a Challenge Tour player, made a couple of quarterfinals, so I knew what it was like to play on the Pro Tour, even though it was just a couple tournaments. So of course the main goal was to get in the top 64. I played twice on the Euro Tour before I got a tour card, and I really loved it. So I wanted to play on more Euro Tours, but I wasn't even thinking about the World Match Play or World Grand Prix or Grand Slam. I was just get into the top 64, play some Euro Tours, hopefully get to the World Championship, and then the 2 years have been a success. You
had a great match, didn't you, with Rob Cross last year at the World Match, which went right the way. It was 13-12, wasn't it?
Correct. What
are your memories of that game? This is going to sound a bit silly, but were you absolutely gutted?
Yeah, 100%.
I was really, yes.
Yeah. I was 8-4 down in that game.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
So I was like, it feels over and done. He was playing well. I wasn't really playing well. I was like, okay, just enjoy the experience. Maybe it's the only ever time you play here on the World Match Play, who knows? So
never here. You were always coming back.
Yeah, but that was my first time. I was like, maybe it's the one and only ever time you're going to be here, so just enjoy it. And then it's when I started playing really well, got back to 9-8 in front, but then I was start thinking about winning the game, and then I collapsed a bit. I missed a couple of match starts, but to be honest, when I was 8-4 down and just looking back at the game, I was gutted that I lost, but I was also happy that I could at least turn it into a game and not lose like 10-4, 10-5, and I took the positives from that game, especially going back here this year, and I was like, I played really well last year, so hopefully I can repeat that this year, and hopefully, at least win the first game.
You obviously, you're a very humble man, Gian, and I knew that before we started this recording, and obviously the way you're talking now, you speak very humbly about yourself, and that is a trait to be admired. I love that. I sincerely love that, absolutely. But what I would like to ask you is, do you know how good you are? Because if I may say so, I think you're an amazing player with a huge future, and I think we all know that. But do you sometimes allow yourself to think, oh yeah, I can do this actually?
It's getting there. I know, especially a year ago, no. Then I was like, the first half year on my tour card, I didn't really belong there. I thought, at least, I was playing well and I was winning games and getting to quarterfinals, semifinals, but I was always not riding my luck, but I was always like, oh, there are so many better players than me over here. But I think it's getting there. I know, especially now being in the top 32 for quite a couple of months, even for a year or so. So I've known how to beat the top players. I know I can beat the top players, and yeah, I think in my mind it's getting there, or to understand what I'm capable of. But yeah, as you said, I still see myself, not as much lately, but I still see myself as the 15, 16-year-old kid, just enjoy playing darts and looking up to all the players you've playing week in, week out now, and I think that's never going to go away.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Is that I think you do enjoy yourself when you're playing darts. I think that does come across, even when you're on stage. I think you're enjoying the game, aren't you?
100%.
And I wonder sometimes about how much room all the players give themselves to enjoy it, because obviously with the amount of money that's on offer, it's very serious.
Mm-hmm.
But how much would you say enjoying the actual game that you're playing, how important is that?
For myself, it's very important, because yeah, as I just said, I still look at myself as the 15 or 16-year-old kid who would never dream of playing at the Winter Gardens or at the Ali Pali World Championship. So I'm really enjoying the ride that I'm on and playing in all these massive tournaments, and I think that's really good for myself to just enjoy it and see how far we can go. Because I've always said, I don't know, especially in my first year, I always said on the tour, I don't know how long I can keep my tour card. I don't know how long this is going to go on for, so I'm just going to enjoy it and not take it for granted. I'm not saying I'm going to play on the Pro Tour for 20 years. Who knows? Anything might happen. But yeah, as you just said, I didn't understand how good I was back then. I'm starting to understand it now, so now I know if I keep playing like this, I should be on the Pro Tour for a good while. But yeah, I'm still enjoying every single match I play.
Well, you had a great game with Damon Hetcher on the European Tour, either last year or the year before. I actually can't remember now, but I remember refereeing it, and you averaged 114 or however much it was, and you beat him 6-0. Now, not many people beat Damon Hetcher 6-0, you know? It was a fine performance from yourself. I mean, was that a bit of a moment for you where you thought, oh, you know, I can do this?
Yes, 100%, because that was, yeah, obviously the best game I ever played on stage, and I didn't play that good also any time before on the Pro Tour, so
it's still statistically the best you've done,
on the Pro Tour. Yes, I've played once on the development tour, like 115 or 116, but otherwise then that's the best game I've ever played. And it was like, okay, you're capable of this, but also to do it on stage in front of the cameras, in front of 2,000-3,000 people against one of the top players in the world. That was a massive achievement for myself to really show myself what I was capable of, and I think that really gave me extra confidence playing on all the different Euro Tours and all the different stages.
And so talk to us about youth darts in general at the moment, Gian, because there's yourself, there's Josh Rock, there's somebody that nobody knows called Luke Littler. Have you ever heard of him, Gian? No, never. No. And there's also, I mean, you hear these crazy stories now since Luke came along of these 10-year-olds that are hitting 104 averages. There's 12-year-olds hitting 9 darters. There's this and that. The future has never looked healthier, not just in terms of youth, but also the globalness of darts that's coming in the future. So many opportunities now, but so many youngsters around your age, you know, even like sort of, I heard somebody say about Luke Littler that the biggest danger to Luke may not be in front of him, might be behind him. The same could be said to you, I suppose, as well. Talk to us about youth darts, Gian, at the moment.
I think it's crazy, but just because of what Luke has done, as you said, about the 10, 12-year-olds playing 100 plus averages, I think it's quite scary. So yeah, what Luke has done for this sport in the UK, but globally as well, much more media attention, which helped, of course, growing the sport prize money wise, and I think it's always good for the sport to have such a big talent as Luke is, and there's many more to come from him, but also from all the other players. And I think the youth of darts is in a very good place with players like Josh Rock, Wessel Nyman, who's playing phenomenally. You got Nico Springer from Germany, who's coming on the ranking. So I think the sport is in really, really good hands. With all the youngsters coming through, some of them might be boring, as Gary Anderson would say, but no, I think it's really good for the sport. And yeah, I think there's plenty more players who we don't even know who are coming through in the next 5 or 10 years.
Oh, it is scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the standard is only going to go up and up. I mean, are you mindful of that, Hian? When you are on the practice board at home, do you think to yourself, yeah, I as good as what I am, I may actually need to get better? You know, I mean, do you see Luke Littler, Josh Rock, Vessel, Nico, all these people as your main rivals, as it were, just purely because of the age factor? You feel like, well, in the next 20 years, these are going to be the guys to beat. So do you see Luke Littler as the pinnacle?
Yeah, that I do, but I've not looked at all the others as my main rivals for the next 20 years to come. I still think players like Michael van Gerwen are going to be here for another 10, 15 years. Luke Humphries can be in here for another 20 years, so he's always going to be up there. And you see someone like Luke, he's well-known talent like for many years, but even 5 years ago, you wouldn't expect him to be here in 5 years. So there could be another 5 or 10 players, maybe not as crazy as him, but very good players in the next 20 years who can be the rivals back then. And maybe I'm not even around playing darts in 20 years anymore. So I'm just looking at where my game is now and at the present, and I'm not really looking for the next 20 years to come.
Okay, so I was just about to ask you, do you want to be number one in the world?
100, yeah, definitely.
You want to be the top dog. You want to be the top dog in darts.
Yes, that's why I'm playing. I'm playing darts to win tournaments, to be the best in the world eventually, to be a world champion. And yeah, if I wasn't playing for that reason, I think I wouldn't be here. Can
you get better, Gian? Do you think there's more in the tank, in terms of improving your all-round game?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially this year, I've been quite consistent with like averaging 97, 98 for the whole year. But I think I've lost too many close games so far. So I think if I will start winning that games and get my B game up, so I think I can average about 100, 101 for the whole year. I think that's what I'm capable of. But yeah, as I said, I'm only 23. It's only my third year on tour, so got plenty more years to come, hopefully. But yeah, I think my ceiling is higher than what it is now.
Hian, there was something I meant to ask you a little bit earlier on, if I'm honest, but it's just come to me again now. And this is something that has affected not just yourself, but also a lot of young players at the moment. So we talk about young players and the amount of opportunities that there are at the moment. But you have had a little bit of a battle with Dartitis, haven't you? And I don't want to dwell on that particularly if you don't want to.
It's fine.
But I did just want to ask you about Dartitis. When did that first start?
I think it was about 15 or 16 years old.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's when I first started struggling with Dartitis, but I only struggled for like 2 months or 1 month, because then I changed my throw to the stacking stuff as well. So it was about what I said earlier about pulling the darts low, but it was also like it wasn't really bothering me, but sometimes on an important double I was struggling to release the darts. So I was like, okay, add these two together and I'm not going forward, so just try to throw differently. And then I was okay, but then it really hit me again. When was it? It was like the end of COVID, I think it was. Yeah. So around 2020, 2021.
Yep.
I was about 18, 19 years old. I was really struggling with Dartsiders. I remember going to my third Q school, but it was the first time I really played well, like a steady 85 to 88 average for the whole year. So it was the first time going there, like, I'm not expected to get a card, but if I have my week, I can certainly get my tour card. And I struggled so much that week. I still remember the whole tournament was at the last 8, and I was still playing my last 32 game, and it was just started because I was playing so slow, and I was really struggling. But the weird thing is, I played better through it. I started playing, as I said, like 85 average with Dartitis when it got around. But when I got rid of it, I averaged like 92, 93, because in my head I was like, you're not going to release the dart until you're 100% sure you're going to hit the target that you aim for. So it took a while, but I started playing better. I started winning more games, which grew my confidence massively, and that's how I eventually got rid of it as well.
I mean, it's something. I mean, I've had Nathan Aspinall on the podcast before now, where he's talked in depth about it, and we've seen it affect Bo Greaves.
Yep.
I remember seeing videos of Thomas Banks, who's another very highly rated youngster on the MODUS Super Series recently, has been suffering with it. And I think by the end of the week, it had actually gone. I think he was suffering with it for like a day or two, and then by the end of the week, he was flying. Why is this all of a sudden affecting so many young players, it seems, especially Hian? Is this an anxiety-related sort of thing?
Yeah. For me, it was. Yeah. I was just scared of losing. I was scared of what people might think of me when I play bad. I was just scared of. In my head, I was like, especially when I was on a double, what happens if you miss? If you miss, it's not really people gonna laugh at you, but people think some things about you. You might let people down, you let your family down, you let yourself down, that stuff, and that's all going through your mind when you're on a double. Then you're not going to release it because you don't want to miss. That was going through my head, and I think especially now with all, it's why you see it with youngsters. I think social media puts a lot of pressure on them, and that's just the world as it is right now. But I really felt that as well. You get a lot of pressure on yourself because of you, but also because of your surroundings, and that's why it's a massive mentally block to play darts.
And it sounds like the way you've overcome it sounds a bit similar to Nathan. And I mean, forgive me, Nathan, I think I'm right in saying that he kind of found a way, because he goes to see somebody and he's found a way to sort of incorporate it in his game. Is that what it sounds like? That's also what you were able to do. You were able to sort of embrace it as opposed to fight it. Yeah,
correct. I was... I think that's a good way to put it. I was embracing it instead of like, I want to get rid of it. Just deal with it as you are playing. But as I said, I started playing better, so my confidence grew, and I was at a point where I was like, who cares what everyone thinks? It's about you. You're playing. You're doing it for yourself. Of course, you want to make everyone proud, but you're playing for yourself. And if you lose, you're gonna be the only one who gets affected. It's not like 3 hours later, no one cares about what you did. It's about what you're doing at that moment, and you're the only one in control. And that's when my confidence grew, and I started not really caring about what other people said about me. And I think that's what really helped me with my game. People still see me do the ghost throw. I think that's what I call it, to get my arm loosened up. I think that's still an effect of what Dartitis did on me, because I didn't do it before, but I've done it now. But I'm okay with that. I'm just embracing it.
Players do that anyway, even those who don't have Dartitis. I've seen that lots of times.
Yeah, true. So I've really embraced it and put it into my game, and I think that, in a weird way, Dartitis helped me.
Do you think so? Really? Yeah. That's how you look at it back now. Is that Dartitis helped your game? Yeah. It's interesting because there used to be a time where Dartitis were like, boom, end of career.
Yeah, true.
But nowadays that's not the case, is it? You know, and I mean, that's the upside. That's the positive, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's. I'm not saying.
As it were. Not encouraging people to get Dartitis.
No. I just want to make sure, but it's really tough to get Dartitis if you have it. But I think in a weird way, it's helped my career so far.
Well, you're an inspiration to those who do have Dartitis, because, like I say, you've become better having gone through it.
True.
And we mentioned earlier about sort of mental toughness. Playing last 32 games when there was the last day, well, that must have toughened you up mentally.
Yeah. I was apologizing to all the officials. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm really trying, but I was still winning games, and they were like, you're not doing anything wrong. You can't help yourself. It's okay. And I still remember one game on the challenge tour when I first got Dartitis, and my opponent was like angry at me because he thought I was doing it on purpose, and I was in tears. I was really crying my eyes out in middle of Barnsley Metrodome, because I was struggling myself, and if my opponent told me I was cheating or something, it was heartbreaking. But like, that's the only negative impact it had on me, and the rest, everyone was like not really feeling sorry for me, but they were all understanding what I was going through, and I think that really helped.
And I mean, if it is the fear of missing, because you don't want to let yourself down, you don't want to let your family down, your friends down. I mean, I don't know your family at all, Gian, but I know you, and I'm 100% sure that your family would never feel as if you have let them down.
True.
You know, it's all sort of. I mean, I suffer from anxiety badly. You know, I overthink so much. And all the rest of it. But a lot of it is, these are things that are made up sort of in our own heads. I mean, I even get it when I'm refereeing. I said it to Nathan that I've had anxiety attacks while I've been stood there refereeing on big stages. You know, it's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. But a lot of it comes from my own mind. It's almost like sort of trying too hard to impress, to not make mistakes, to sort of be the best referee that I can be. I don't know what it is. It's just, and then becomes a whirlpool. And maybe the fact that I don't really know what it is means that I can't combat it.
Yeah.
And you can panic then, because you feel as if you can't solve it. Does that all resonate?
100%. Yeah.
Right.
Everything you're saying now, of course, not as a referee, but as a player, I can relate to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the principle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of trying to. Yeah.
And as you said, it's a whirlpool, and you're drowning in your own thoughts, and like it can be. Yeah.
But I guess if you could think of that, your family, your friends, your girlfriend, everyone's going to be proud of you anyway.
Yeah.
Then that can ease that anxiety away, can't it?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah. Very much so.
Hian, thank you very much for that. My final question to you is a pretty big one. How many world titles are you going to win? Sorry, I'll rephrase that. How many world titles do you want to win? How much do you want to win?
About 20.
About 20? Yep, that's fine. Yep, no problem.
No, I'm not.
Sure you can do it.
I'm not going to sit here and I'm going to win 5 world titles. No, I'll be very happy with my career if I win 1 world title. And I think I would be very successful career. I think so far my career has been very successful, but I would top it off eventually in like 20, 25, 30 years with a world title. It doesn't matter if it's next year or in 10, 15 years. Just win 1 world title, and I think I'll be very satisfied.
I mean, do you have a time limit on that? No. Do you have it? No. At any point? Yeah.
Yeah. If I win the world at the age of 45, I'll be happy.
Yeah, big time. I'm sure you will, Hian. I'm sure you will. Thank you very much for coming on. You've been an absolute star.
Thank you.
I will let you go.
Thank you for having me.
I would love to have you back on in the future.
No problem.
That would be marvellous.
I'll be here.
Thank you, Hian.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching and downloading this episode. I do hope that you enjoyed it. And thanks as ever to our partners at Pluto TV. Download the Pluto TV app now and start streaming on your smart television. Non-stop darting action as well as thousands of movies and shows for you to enjoy. The link is in the show description. Subscribe to not miss an episode if you haven't already. We'll see you very soon for the next one. Bye-bye.